What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another Giants video. This was actually something that came out last night. It broke last night via the New York Post. Dave Gettleman will be back. He is set to return as the general manager of the New York Football Giants. It was actually broken in chat to me by Marjorie Simmons, so shout out to Marjorie. That was probably the best news we got all night because it was a day in which the Jets put in a request to interview defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, and everybody was kind of worried. And I've come to the conclusion that Patrick Graham is going to stay with the Giants. I'm putting my faith in him, that he's putting his faith in us. But basically what I'm saying is that, I hope, what I'm hoping is that Patrick Graham is going to stay with the Giants because he starts to build something really good here with this defense, but even great with the potential to be one of the elite defenses in the league. And I think he would want to stay to finish that job. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I am not too worried about the request that the Jets put in. And also, it's the Jets. I mean, they're going to find a way to mess that up. And then we got news later that night, also from Marjorie, saying that the Chargers put in a request to get an interview with offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. And you guys know how I feel about Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. Essentially, since week 1, I've been complaining about him. The Chargers you guys are free to come and take that man off our hands. And then finally, at the end of the night, we got this, and I'm happy. You guys know my stance on Dave Gettleman. I've been called a Dave Gettleman stan, a Dave Gettleman apologist, and I guess to a certain extent that is true. I just think that Dave Gettleman has done a good job in terms of getting this roster to where it is right now, right? It doesn't show in the record yet, but we've only been rebuilding for 2 years. He's been here for 3 years, but we've only been rebuilding for 2 years. And in that 2-year span, I think it's not that bad, right? I think we're on track. I mean, if anything, this year was proof that we're on track. He got us when we started rebuilding. But, well, you know what? Let me start talking about 2018. 2018, Saquon Barkley, number 2 overall. A lot of people hated that pick. When it happened, a lot of people hated that pick. Not even just now with the hindsight is 2020 and the revisionist guys who say we should have taken Nelson and then Chubb in the second round. That's hindsight. But at that point, a lot of people hated that pick. A lot of people said we probably should have went Bradley Chubb or Quentin Nelson at number 2 overall. That there is not positional value at number 2 overall for a running back. I never hated the pick, and I still don't hate the pick because Saquon Barkley was and still is, in my opinion. Or actually, you know what? He does have competition from Nelson now, but he was and still is the best player out of the 2018 draft. I really do think that. Will Hernandez is looking shaky. I admit that, but he ended off the year, on a high note. That entire 2018 draft was okay. It was okay. It's not as good as it once looked, but it was okay. 2019, even better than that. I mean, the only terrible pick in there, which isn't even Gettleman's fault, was DeAndre Baker because of that whole situation. But we got who may be our franchise QB moving forward. I mean, the coaches still believe in him. He got a lot of praise from Judge this year in Daniel Jones. We got Dexter Lawrence, a great defensive tackle that we saw how defensive tackles could help this team this year, and Dexter Lawrence was a big part of that. You know what I'm saying? We got Julian Love, who a lot of people forgot about, including myself, who may turn out to be our second cornerback because he didn't look too bad out there against Dallas, man. We got some good players in the 2019 draft now. Of course, Darius Slayton is in there from that draft as well. And then 2020, Andrew Thomas, who I've been completely on board with since before we even picked him up. Looks like the franchise left tackle of the future. Matt Peart, we haven't seen much of him down the stretch, but hopefully he could develop into the franchise right tackle of the future. And if you got your franchise left and right tackle in one draft, that's already a home run draft. And in addition to that, we got Shane Lemieux, who might be one of our guards of the future. You know what I'm saying? We got Darnay Holmes, who might be the slot cornerback of the future. We got really good linebacker depth and who came out and showed out this year. The rookies, Cam Brown, Carl Coughlin, Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant. They got playing time and they made the most of it. The 2020 draft was by far, I think, his best draft so far. And of course, the 2020 offseason, there's a reason I didn't mention the 2018 and 2019 offseason is because they were not good. But I think that happens. I can take that. If you have a not good offseason, but really good drafts, I can take that, especially when, once again, we're in year 2 of the rebuild, and in his second year, he hit both the draft and the offseason. Busy Blake Martinez, y'all. I told y'all this man, Blake. I told y'all, bro. I want to say it was like around April, May, because we signed Blake in March, and I was hesitant on the Blake signing. I wasn't hating on, like, people were straight up hating on the Blake Martinez signing. My only concern with the Blake Martinez signing was that I was like, he's only a tackling machine. That's about it. But April, May, I put out a video. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was saying, you know what? Blake Martinez is just like Antonio Pierce. And you know what? He's better than Antonio Pierce, because when he was under Patrick Graham, he had a great year in pass defense, in pass coverage. And lo and behold, Blake Martinez is the best middle linebacker we've had in years. He was one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL, definitely a Pro Bowl snub, absolute home run hitter by Dave Gettleman. James Bradbury, this dude might be an all-pro corner in his first year with the New York Giants. Another signing absolutely out of the park. I mean, Cam Fleming, we hate on that signing all the time. Guess what? He was signed to be a swing tackle / backup tackle, and he produced, right? Kyler Fackrell, who maybe if he was healthy would have seen a bit more of him, but when he was on the field, he did good things. I mean, the guy got his pick 6 at the edge position. Anyway, you guys know me. I am a fan of Gettleman. I've liked what he's done, and I think for stability, that he should stay, and I'm glad that the Giants retained him. Now, my biggest fear was that we let go of Gettleman, we bring in somebody else in here, and the worst case scenario happens. This isn't very probable, but the worst case scenario would have been that dude blows everything up, and he says, nah, I don't like the foundation that's built here, I'm going to start over, and then the rebuild is completely start over. We're letting go of players, we're drafting guys to replace them. We're getting a new quarterback. We're getting, some new coaching staffs and whatnot. Because guess what? The general manager has the authority to do that. That is not very probable, but that's the worst case scenario. But my true fear was the general manager coming in here and using the foundation that Gettleman built and going in a different direction. Not continuing the job that Gettleman started, but continuing on a different path. Say, for example, taking a tight end in the first round or something crazy like that, when we all know it's probably should be cornerback or wide receiver that this team would need in the first round, or just straight up not listening to Joe Judge and not taking Joe Judge into account when making his decisions as a general manager. Speaking of which, I think that's a great part to why Dave Gettleman is returning. Him and Joe Judge have a good relationship, at least to what we know and what has been reported to us as Giants fans. We know he took just a little bit of a step back so that Judge could have some say in the draft. Now, I don't think in his first year Judge had a lot of say in the draft. I think in his first year they still let Gettleman can keep most of the control for that, because Judge was still an unproven commodity. But Gettleman did let Judge have some say, especially when it comes to the type of players that they were looking at and drafting. And I think that's going to improve as the years go on, however long this duo sticks together. But I think one of the main reasons Gettleman is here is because Judge probably spoke up for him. I mean, I don't think it's a secret that Joe Judge is the leader of this organization right now, the leader of this team. And they're definitely looking at him when it comes to football operations a little bit. And him and Gettleman probably have a good relationship. And I mean, Judge is looking at him like, yo, you gave me great players in the draft, great production from late round picks, and a stellar free agency. Let's go and make a repeat in terms of this offseason, and then we're gonna go and take over the NFC East. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman are just like, they're great working partners. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my thoughts on it. I don't think this is a surprise, this video, to you guys. I've been a fan of Gettleman. I definitely do know that he's had some bad moves. He has had some bad moves, but what GM doesn't? I mean, what GM doesn't? No general manager in the NFL is perfect. But that's my thoughts on it. Put your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch y'all in the next one.